Hello out there, and today guys I have a really fun topic thanks to a tag from my buddy Slicey Dicey. So in a recent video, Slicey Dicey talked about the knife that broke him. The knife that basically made him realize that he was a knife guy, that he was obsessed. It wasn't just a hobby where he carried a knife every day and used it when he needed it, but that he was 100% invested in like the knife habit and the obsession. And he tagged me on that video, which I will link to down below. My guess, guys, is that you are probably already following Slicey Dicey. If you aren't, you definitely should be because, yeah, his channel is just, it's just really, really good. If you watch this channel and don't watch his, then I'm a little bit confused because his channel is a lot like mine. It's just better. And that's not me even paying a compliment to him. That's me stating a simple observation. I think that he is quite possibly the best YouTube reviewer that we have. So definitely check him out if you are not already. But yeah, just a really great idea to talk about this kind of topic, and gives me the opportunity to sort of, you know, delve into the backstory a little bit, get a little more personal, and yeah, change up some things on the channel. So really excited to be doing this today, talk about my history with knives and the knife that really got me 100% invested in this hobby, and I knew there was no turning back after I picked up this one. And it's not the knife in front of you, but the knife in front of you is a Gerber Paraframe 2, and this is just an example of all the knives that I was starting my collection with. I think the first 15 to even 20 knives I had were all Gerbers. They were budget knives. It gave me the opportunity to check out a whole bunch of different kinds of models and designs and see what kind of materials I liked, all that good stuff. And then I eventually picked up a Kershaw, and it was a budget Kershaw. I think it was the Kershaw Crown, and I really liked that knife. But then one day I was at a gun show, and I was checking out just everything they had there, checking out some of the knife booths. At this point, I'd never spent more than, say, 25 bucks on a knife, but then I saw a knife that I recognized, and I said, I'm going to pick it up. And I paid $50 for this, and it was my first Kershaw Leek. And I don't think it was my first ever USA-made folder. I think the Gerber Gator at the time was made in the USA. It still might be, but it was definitely my first USA-made Kershaw, my first Ken Onion design, and one that, yeah, just really, really started things off as far as the obsession goes, because I had never experienced quality on this level up to that point. And yeah, I think $50 purchase, it just changed everything. And the reason for that, one, I mean, I'd never had a design that was so sleek and just so good looking, to be honest. I mean, it was the best looking knife I had by far, best materials I had by far, but also it was Ken Onion. And I'd heard of Ken Onion because I'd heard of this knife, but then once I picked this up, I looked into it more and found out about his other models like the Scallion and the Chive. I started collecting those. And then that moved me on to CRKT because I realized, why isn't Ken Onion designing for Kershaw anymore? And I figured out that he was over at CRKT. I went over to CRKT, checked out some of their knives and picked up some Ken Onions, realized all the really cool kind of locking mechanisms that they had and some of the innovative stuff that they were doing. And yeah, got into CRKT, and then that just built onto other things, you know what I mean? And it just sort of snowballed from there. But the knife that really started it, the knife that got me invested in pushing this forward and not just being a guy who carries a knife, was the Kershaw Leek. And let me be clear, it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay to be a guy who just carries a knife. And I mean, it's way better than not being a guy who carries a knife, you know? And there's no need for everybody to be obsessed as I am, or the other, you know, knife reviewers that I talk to are. But, you know, the reason why we're here is, like, we like to talk about knives, we like to collect them, and hopefully, you know, those of you watching share this. But for me, you know, the Kershaw Leek is a perfect model that sort of bridges all those different paths when it comes to knife collecting and knife interest, because this is one of those models that just appeals to people who aren't collectors. You know, it's one that you see people have that aren't knife people, you know, because you can buy this in stores, and it's one of like the nicer, like more quality kind of knives that you'll see on the shelves in like a Walmart or like just a regular sporting goods store. So these knives are everywhere. And I think, you know, that was the appeal to me, is that I'd seen it before and I wanted one. And yeah, when I picked it up, it just completely changed things. Another thing to illustrate that fact, just this week, I had a person who works for me found this was left at the place that I work. So this went into lost and found, and I ended up bringing it home. But I mean, look at this. I mean, perfect example of what the Kershaw leak is, at least in my eyes. It's just an everyman's knife. It breaks, you screw it up, you like find a way to make it work, and you keep going with it. You know, it's still functional. You know, and there are people who will have a knife like this, and it will be their knife, and they'll sharpen it and sharpen it and sharpen it, and they'll have this knife for 10, 15 years. And I mean, that's what it's made for. It's a good quality knife in that regard, and absolutely zero problem with that. So yeah, just very cool to find this. I will be doing some kind of restoration job on this knife in the near future. But when it comes to this one, yeah, just want to take a look at it real quick. There is not a lot of visible wear on it because it was my nicest knife, so I didn't carry it all the time. And you can maybe see in the finish, the bead blast, there's a lot of little scratches because there were some rust spots, and so I just like ended up having to clean them up a little bit. You know, the laser etch is like fading. A couple nicks in the scales, but nothing real major. It still looks really good, and these are actually like the torsion bar in here is the same original one that was on it when I got it years and years ago, and it's held up. So I mean, functionally, it's just been an excellent knife. So built well, designed well. Yeah, can't really say enough about it. And it's definitely a sentimental knife for me because this is the knife that I was carrying. Yeah, when the day that I realized that my wife was going to become my wife. So yeah, it's a special one. It started the ball, and the ball just keeps rolling, guys. So yeah, I'm not going to tag anyone in particular, but anyone who does want to make a video about their knife, you know, in regards to what got them started and what made them a quote-unquote knife guy, definitely comment below and let me know so I can check it out, and head over to Slicey Dicey's video and comment on that one and let him know, and you can get added to the list, and it'll be a fun day of just watching a whole bunch of these videos. All right, guys? So thanks for watching. Take care. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this one. Have a good one.